Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it may be for you. I'm Daemon, and welcome to the first in a series of videos that dives into aspects of your favorite sci-fi, cyberpunk, and other futuristic stories. We'll see if these fantastical realities can come true, and if so, how desirable they might be. We'll begin with the current talk of the town, Cyberpunk 2077, and its inspiration, Cyberpunk 2020. Recently, CD Projekt Red released Night City Wire Episode 1, a short look into the life paths and prologues of the upcoming game, including screenshots and gameplay trailers. The details we'll be focusing on today are the upgrades to the character's eyes, also known as cyber optics. In the demo, the protagonist V is shown to have a newsfeed, an active stock ticker, telescopic lenses, video calling, an ammo counter, and even facial recognition capabilities. Are these abilities just flights of fancy, or will we all be seeing life like a video game UI in our lifetimes? In the next 9 minutes, you'll learn that not only is this a possible outcome, but it might just be inevitable. Before we get going with our real-life parallels, let's look at some examples of optical upgrades to characters all around the sci-fi genre. In the tabletop RPG, Cyberpunk 2020, the list of upgrades a character can make to their eyes is vast. Options include, on top of those listed above, infrared vision, video cameras, and an in-eye dark gun, to name a few. The most important detail to notice in these cybernetics is the method for which they are implanted. Within the Cyberpunk universe, most of these upgrades are achieved by fully replacing the eye with an electronic counterpart. These eyeball replacement computers are implanted into the eye socket and directly connect to the optic nerve for seamless computer-to-brain communications. Although exceptions exist in the extended lore, most denizens of Night City have willingly had their eyes removed and advanced computers are put in their place. On a separate note, let's move on to a game series with a more grounded reality. The Deus Ex universe has seen many retinal augmentations throughout its 4 main games. The most unique ones being the Eye Know Smart Vision implant, which allows the user to see people, robots, and electronics through solid walls, and the Casey Social Enhancer, which is actually a cranial implant that uses images collected by the retinal augmentations to read social cues and relay the user with psychological information on their target. An important distinction from the cyberpunk method of human augmentation is how these upgrades are achieved. The scientists in the Deus Ex universe created micro-thin prostheses that can project digital information directly into the retina. This procedure, although requiring extremely invasive medical procedures, lets the user keep their original eyes while acquiring these digital upgrades. Did I say this was more grounded in reality? Just wait until later. Although there are many other examples of characters from video games and TV shows with cybernetic eyes, let's begin to look at how these technological marvels can be brought into our reality. Let's start with the least invasive method for augmenting your vision. Although futuristic and even sci-fi a couple decades ago, it is now quite common to see someone playing video games with a virtual reality headset such as the Oculus Rift S, or training for their new job using the Microsoft HoloLens. These devices have shown us a path to visualizing life with digital improvements and replacement. The HoloLens's use of augmented reality opens the door to our entire digital life, including social media, gaming, and our jobs being viewable outside of our smartphones and computers. However, these devices are still bulky and only temporarily digitize the world around you. To move closer to a cyberpunk equivalent, let's look a little further and check out current technology for full eye replacement and retinal prosthesis. We'll start with the Second Sight Argus 2. The Second Sight includes a wearable computer, glasses with a camera fitted between the eyes, a transceiver, and a full eye prosthetic. The camera records everything in front of the user and sends this data to the computer. That computer translates that data into instructions for the transceiver. The instructions are sent wirelessly to a receiver implanted on the inner surface of the eye, then passed to an array of electrodes connected to the retina. These electrodes display a low-resolution, black and white version of what the camera recorded. Recall from earlier that this method is almost exactly how Adam Jensen's optical augmentations were achieved. Although this process is specifically used to help those with severe blindness see again, it's not difficult to imagine how it can be reconfigured to give the user the ability to see in the infrared spectrum or have digital information from our smartphone sent directly to the optic nerve. fully incorporating digital capabilities into the human eye. Moving further up the eye, another prosthetic called the centrocyte is a telescope implanted in the lens of the eye to magnify the image seen 2.5 times onto the retina. Now, before you start looking up how you can start looking miles away over the horizon like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, I should tell you that this implant is specifically designed for senior citizens suffering from late-stage age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Although specific in its use case, the idea of replacing our eye lens with advanced optical elements or even smart devices is incredibly intriguing. It might just spark your imagination on how we can digitize our visual world without replacing the entire eye. Well, what if I were to tell you that not only are we already very close to this reality, but it wouldn't even require any invasive surgery? Earlier this year, a startup called Mojo Vision previewed their Mojo lenses, contact lenses with augmented reality capabilities that can show the current weather, traffic patterns, optimized driving routes, a calendar, a to-do list, a music controller, and many others. Unlike the previous two examples, the Mojo lenses will be able to be put on like any other contact lenses. For those of us who have been lucky enough to not need contacts or glasses in our life, that might be a tall order. Once you get past the traumatizing experience of shoving plastic into your eyeballs, a whole digital UI will exist in your peripherals that doesn't distract you during your travels, but has all the info and entertainment available in your smartphone without pulling out your mobile device. These Mojo lenses are the closest we've come to truly living like characters we see in these futuristic video games and movies. We are about to move past the pinnacle of tech innovation's classic catchphrase, power at your fingertips, and keep it in front of our eyes. So, how close is Cyberpunk 2077's UI and cyber optic enhancements to our current reality? I would say that not only are these capabilities possible, they are inevitable in our lifetime. It might seem optimistic to think that everyone will eventually be wearing contacts for the sake of having an arguably slight improvement to our efficiency, but imagine telling a person from the 1990s or earlier that in 3 decades, everyone would be carrying a cell phone, and that phone would contain all of our personal, financial, and social details. You might just turn some heads. Overall, I'm confident that this will become a new normal within the next decade. To conclude, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more dives into elements of sci-fi media becoming our reality, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Next time, we'll look at another mechanic from Cyberpunk 2077's gameplay demos, brain dance, and cyberspace, and how we've been experimenting with neuroplasticity and brain interactions today. I'm Daemon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.